Hi there BookTube, it's Eleanor here, and today I am coming from a new location. I'm actually at my mother-in-law's house. She's taken my daughter out for an hour to play, and so she kindly said that I could film my video here. So hence the wonderful decor, because she's got much better taste in interior design than I have. So today I'm doing my Friday reads. I'm doing what books I've read and what books I'm thinking about reading. This week started off with a really surprising and pleasantly surprising read. Only Ever Yours by Louise O'Neill. And I heard about this on the Booksellers channel. They'd said it was one of their favourite reads from last year, so I thought, seeing as it was in the library, that I would pick it up and give it a go. I was so surprised by this book. At the start, probably till about a third or 2/3 through, I was thinking it was going to be a 3 or 4 star read. But by the end of the story, it's the first book that actually made me cry this year, and I gave it 5 stars. Frida's been friends with Isabel her whole life, and they're best friends. They live in a world where the water has risen and a lot of the world has disappeared. So there's only small sections left, almost like arcs. And a lot of women have become quite barren, and they need young, fresh blood, so to speak. So they have genetically created Eves, who are modified, a bit more perfect. So they've ironed out some of the kinks and grown them in test tubes. Girls, and they're regular girls, you know, they're not robotic or anything. They have been test tube and genetically enhanced to be more beautiful and more attractive and, you know, better. And they are trained in these schools till they're 16, where they are picked either to be a companion, which is a companion to one of the young men that was born in the same year as them, and to bear them children and to live and be their, you know, every desire. Or they become concubines, so they're used for sex by said men when they don't want to sleep with their companions. Or they become chastities, who are the teachers who teach these Eves for the first 16 years of their lives. However, unlike a normal school, at this school they're taught that all that matters is to be pretty, and in order to be pretty you must be skinny, and you must have the perfect clothes, perfect makeup, perfect shoes, everything must be perfect. There's even stages where a young girl who's gained weight is stood at the front of the class while everyone shouts that she's fat and disgusting at her, and during the evening they are pumped with words saying that they must be good, they must be better, they must be skinny, just repeated over and over again in a subliminal state, so that it sinks into their brains. What I found most heart-wrenching about this book is, although obviously it is massively different from the world today, we've not had any sort of apocalyptic happening that has caused loads of people to die, although there are those sort of things out there. I just see young girls today, and that is all they're worried about, being the skinniest in order to be the prettiest, and they're constantly pumped from the media with these visions of the perfect woman. And it's scary how close to home, actually, even though it's set in a complete dystopian world, this scenario is. And oh, it just made me so sad. The story progresses, and we're going through these girls' 16th years, and we're finding out what's happening to these girls, whether they're going to be picked as companions or concubines, and we follow Frida and Isabel's friendship. So as I say, this was a 5-star read from me. I just thought it was incredibly powerful, and yeah, as I say, first book to make me cry this year. I definitely recommend it if you are interested in dystopian type stories. The next book I read this week, I read along with Victoria Harris, who has a YouTube channel, and it's Victoria Harris, and she won my 300 subscriber giveaway, which was a copy of Everything, I don't know if you can see this because it's so shiny, Everything I Never Told You by Celeste Ng. I already had a copy of this on the Kindle, so we decided we were going to buddy read it together. This book ultimately is about family, and it is set in the 70s, I believe, and we hear it from a number of different perspectives, and Celeste Ng has really just captured all of these different people within the family, the mother, the father, there's the older brother, there is the eldest daughter who has disappeared, and then there is the younger daughter, Hannah. And we hear from all of their perspectives, and we hear all about this lead up to what's happened to this young girl, and it is an incredibly powerful story. The father is a Chinese American and the mother is American, so the children grow up as part Chinese American, and it is the problems that they face in the 70s with being mixed race, and also gender issues, especially for the mother in the family. It appears to have been the week of tears for me. I had tears pricking my eyes during parts of this story, and at just how dysfunctional a family can be, but also the secrets that we keep from each other, and how simple speaking to each other and having those conversations can make life much easier, and how when people don't do it, all of these different problems arise. And it was a great family story, this, and I definitely recommend it to people to read. So it was a big thumbs up from me and a big 5 stars on this one. And Everything I Never Told You was also the first book that I read for the e-readathon, which was between the 1st and the 8th. So that was my first book on my Kindle for this week. My next book I read this week was The Rain by Virginia Bergin, and this was also on my Kindle as part of the e-readathon. In this book we follow Ruby, and she is at a party at her friend's house in the hot tub. She's finally going to get to kiss that boy that she's always wanted to, and just as they are kissing, the boy who owns the house's family come home, drag all the kids who are having the party inside, screaming "get out of the rain," and they listen to the radio and they hear that the rain has got some sort of virus in it, that if it touches you, you're instantly dead, so you can't be in the rain. And we just follow her through this post-apocalyptic type world, and basically her fight for survival. I have done a review on this book, so I'm not going to say much more, but I was quite disappointed, especially with Ruby's character. I found her quite immature and self-centered. I really enjoyed the premise of the story though, and ultimately it just wasn't for me, and I won't be continuing with the series, but I gave this 3 stars. It was an okay, interesting book. Next up was my 3rd book for the e-readathon, and that was Melt by Celine Castro-Vila. I was pleasantly surprised by this story. I'm doing a review of this as well, so I'm not going to go into much detail. It's about Dorothy and Joey and their relationship, and it is not a retelling of The Wizard of Oz. It is only merely using part of The Wizard of Oz in terms of melting and that concept of the witch melting, and also obviously the name Dorothy, but it has absolutely nothing to do with the Wizard of Oz story itself. And it was a surprising read for me, this one, and had mixed reviews on Goodreads, but I absolutely loved it and gave it 4 stars. Melt, can I just say that if you have issues or problems with violent abuse, sex, drugs, or alcoholism in books, then this is a trigger warning for that, and definitely don't pick this up if you think that those will be an issue. So that's the books that I've finished this week. I'm also partway through The Psychopath Test by Jon Ronson. This was recommended to me from Stephanie at Time to Read. If you haven't checked out her channel, give it a check out. She's brilliant. She's quite a new booktuber, but she reads really interesting books. And this is a non-fiction book about Jon Ronson himself. He's a journalist, and how he gets involved in interviewing and finding out more about psychopaths. So far I'm thoroughly enjoying this, and I'm going to be picking it up and dipping in and out. It's from the library, and I've got quite a lot of other books that I want to read this month, so I'm dipping in and out of this one. So this week I'm going to be trying to get through of Shadow and Stone by Michelle Muto. I believe this is a gargoyle type story, so I will be doing a review for that at some point once I have completed it. And then also I would like to start getting to my fantasy February reads for BookTube Reading Buddies. So next week is all all about Fantasy February. But if you're interested in finding out a bit more about those, then you can see them in my February TBR video. So what are you reading? What have you been reading? What have you been enjoying? Have you read any of these books that I've read? Let's comment as usual. Let's chat. Anyway, that's all from my what I've read and what I'm going to read video, and I look forward to speaking to you all soon. Bye for now, BookTube.